how do you sort of know this is a film that deserves a theatrical release and all of the hard work and money and time and treasure that go into that?
Definitely pushing, especially if you have a film, when you have a script, you've already gone through production, you understand that all the heavy elements are visual, right? And so I can't imagine going to, see Jurassic Park on my television and not have seen it in theater, and that experience of, all the sound enhancement that they did. And or the last film that I just did was Suspiria. I think, viewing that on the bigger screen, there's nothing like it. I'm hoping, that they were able to continue that trend. You see now that they're trying to engage audiences in different ways now that they are able to have a fuller experience in the theater, just like they do at home. But I think it's important for certain genres to actually be shown in the theater.
Yeah, I also think, like, you just don't know, It's like, for producing movies, it's like sometimes, like, if we had this movie, Don't Think Twice, that we produced in-house and theatrically released. And I know we were open to, another person, another company coming in and buying it and putting it in theaters, giving us, but the offers that we got, it's like they didn't really believe in the theatrical. But we believed in the theatrical because it was a good movie and it got good reviews. And it did really well theatrically. It did fantastic theatrically. And so I think it just costs so much money to put a movie out theatrically that if if it's not 100% definitely theatrical, whatever that, so like superhero, like, it's scary for people.
No, I was going to say, without having a silver bullet on what would what would guarantee it's a worthy of a theatrical distribution, spend and all that, particularly in the independent space, one trend we've definitely noticed is, things that are based on, I wouldn't even say existing IP because that's kind of a given, but true stories, even when they're political, when they're public, even personal true stories, those movies seem to attract better talent, which tends to attract better movies. So I, Tonya is like a really good example.
In a brilliant movie.
Yeah, and it turned out really well.
Yeah.
But it kind of needs, like, to bust out of the independent, distribution pack, it does need to be a little bit unique in some way. Some way you can identify, well, that's kind of just a little bit different. It's not just a great drama, but there's something else to it. Like Big Sick's a good example. It was funny, but it wasn't just a pure comedy. It had a few things going on. It had different, points of view on race and ethnicity, and we just screened a movie called The Farewell that Awkwafina's in, and that's just a really unique little story, but it was, really well done, should be relatable to an international audience because they shot it in China, but it's English and Mandarin. Like, that's unique, just me telling you it, So it's kind of, again, it's a little bit of you kind of know it when you see it, for what that's worth.
and puts a premium on execution.
Yeah.
It can be those things. You have to know what's special about it. It's the thing that pulls you to want to make the film that you're making, is you believe that there's something special, unique, that can give it a life on theatrical. But then you actually have to execute on what the vision of that is. And in times like this, I think that there's a real premium to sophistication in actually making sure you put the best version of whatever you're trying to make on screen, because great execution can make something theatrical. I do think it's important to say, though, that it's not the goal of every movie to be theatrical, and I think one of the things that smart filmmakers and producers are doing in a time that is rapidly evolving is just being super honest about what they're making and what success looks like. Because it's not just that if it didn't go theatrical, it's not successful. Some movies are built not to be theatrical, and every movie can be made in different forms. It can be in a low-budget form, a bigger budget, more theatrical form. You can be doing something that you think should live on a stream, or you could be doing something that you think only lives theatrically, and really having a plan, because you're making 1,000 decisions along the way and choosing team members that you're working with and partners. But that's to a vision, and if you don't know what the vision is at the end, your chances of having success are a lot smaller. You don't want to make a movie and then be like, now where does this live? Is this a theatrical movie? Is it a streamer movie? Is it on television? You should have a sense of that before, and things go well and surprise you. Things go wrong all the time too, and so you can't control for that. But if you don't have even a plan or an intent, it's really, really hard to succeed today.